It's been a while. I just had to, with everything's conspired over the past few months, I just need to cool off a little bit. And I guess as the old saying goes, if you can't beat them, join them. I'm not worried, don't know about joining yet, but I am going to take a different approach with everything. As far as the school board meeting tonight, on behalf of the CEA, and with everything conspiring and things that are going on with the merger and so forth, we'd like to request a 5% increase in salaries across the board for all employees in the Covington City School System for the upcoming 2021-2022 school year. We ask that the salary increases be implemented to each step, tier, whatever the employee has, which may create a new pay scale for the employees. Why? With the merger taking place, Allegheny County employees are gaining a huge increase in pay and better benefits, to whereas the city employees are not getting really nothing out of this merger. With the increase, at least you're giving us, the employees, an increase that we could see something before the merger would occur, even though they may get the benefits from that salary also. But we would like to see something out of this before the merger happened. With the merger, there's a good chance that the salary scale could be frozen. If they get to 1.5 and you do the salary equalization, chances are the salaries will probably be frozen after that. The county scale has been frozen for many years, and with the merger, the county holding more positions on the school board, there will probably not be a change. Ms. Jones, maybe an estimate, or if you know a given number, how many years has the county employees' salary scale has been frozen off the top of your head?
No idea.
No idea? Would you say over 7 years?
Probably.
Probably. So, and that's something we're afraid of. You get the merger, then all of a sudden everything's going to be frozen. Where's the money going to come after the 1.5 if they get it to happen from there? An increase in salaries is needed now also more than ever since there's a merger, because our new system will need to be better at salaries and benefits to compete with surrounding counties. Rockbridge, Botetourt, Roanoke County, Botetourt is a very big competitor, people would say. So we have quite a few employees from Botetourt, and even those that live in Lewisburg, West Virginia, coming back and forth. We need something to attract teachers here and also to get them to live in the area. A higher salary scale and better benefits would attract these educators to come to the system. If we're not better, eventually you can see a shortage of educators. Our school system can set the tone. I don't foresee the county going out of their way to do that. So I'm dependent upon our school system to get it done, because I don't think down the road will. With the merger, money should be available to increase salaries for our school system for the next 2 years. There should be no reason to make upgrades or innovations to any of the buildings at this time, since there will be a need to accommodate for new student numbers in the buildings and renovating items such as floors, walls, bathrooms, school colors, mascots. All of that should be done at one time and taken out of the merger budget, not our school system's budget. So that is for the salary increase. The next item I had on the agenda would be for school bonuses for all employees. All of you have seen on your desk there, and we have a lot of surrounding schools that are giving bonuses to their educators throughout the Commonwealth. Even Allegheny is giving some to their educators as well. With all the changes occurring in the educational field over the past year and a half, teachers and staff are working harder and longer. Employees are not only working harder, but are putting themselves at risk, not knowing if a child sent to school is contagious with COVID or not. Some surrounding schools and school systems throughout Virginia are providing all staff with bonuses before the holiday break. On behalf of the CEA, a bonus for our staff is greatly needed for the work that is being put in. Our teachers are showing up to work early, carrying materials home every night, and come back to school the next day to set up all those materials. Teachers are even staying after school and just to record 2-hour lessons to put online for kids to listen to go on campus, to be educated from. Of course, we are having a hard time with some students not doing the work, and we're spending a lot of extra time on the phone communicating with parents and students as well. A normal work day for a teacher, since virtual has been into place, and I'm not overestimating when I say this, a normal work day for a teacher is 14 hours a day right now. As soon as they walk in the building, and it's nonstop when they get home. Teachers can even tell you, kids are texting and email 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. So it's an ongoing process, and we're going over and beyond the call of duty. And appreciation for our teachers, I really feel, is needed. And then the last thing I have on the agenda is talking a little bit about the consolidation process that has happened. Mr. Eric, a question for you. Has a subcommittee been created for the educational process yet?
Define educational.
We have a athletics subcommittee working on facilities, costs. Do we have an educational subcommittee that is going to help put in place the education that our kids need?
Well, the curriculum subcommittee had been formed months and months and months ago.
Have they been working?
They have continued.
Are there any department chairs from each high school on this committee?
There are both superintendents, the directors of instruction, and then that's where the committee basically starts.
Okay, because we hear a lot about athletic subcommittee and everything that's going there. We don't hear much about the curriculum educational subcommittee. I think it would be very important that you get department chairs from the high schools and middle schools, people that are involved in the everyday process of education on that committee. We know what's going on. You know, we are the big part of that. And if it is about our students and it's about getting a better education, that should be up and going foremost before athletics or anything else.
It was.
Okay.
That one, the curriculum subcommittee was meeting months and months and months ago, well before any vote was taken.
Right.
The athletic subcommittee, interestingly enough, just got created after the vote was approved.
And also I would like to ask, as far as being on the, or co-chair of the merger committee, the community would like to see facts. We want to see more publicized. You know, what are the costs that are going to be involved? You know, what are we going to provide? We want facts. There are no facts right now. Put those out to the public so we can see those. That's all I ask.
To a large degree, I think facts have already been out there in the 400 and some odd pages of things that the committee has produced. And I think what
You talking about that was what was read and voted upon for the merger?
well, the totality of everything that was voted upon makes up the proposal itself.
But like right now, your athletic committee has facts, subcommittee has facts of estimated costs that could run into as far as if this merger is conformed. You know, publicize those facts. What's it going to cost if we're going to add more education, like if we're going to add a German class or a French class and we need to hire one of those teachers, what is that going to cost? We want the facts. The public needs to know those facts.
Yeah, I think a periodic updates from this point forward, I think will probably be exactly what is done. And instead, I mean, you say facts, define that. You know, it's so putting out information.
In other words, like educational, what are you willing to provide that the school systems do not have now? What's factual?
Right. Well,
what is that going to cost?
The curriculum
Factual.
subcommittee is currently sussing that out right now as far as what is there between the two systems, and then what could be provided both in person and virtually and that sort of thing, making what I would categorize as a realistic assessment or realistic projection of what additional opportunities could be done. And when it comes to the educational side of things, of course, you understand it's difficult to provide a fact as to what you can provide because that's dependent upon
But if we have an idea of what we're going to offer, then we'll know what we need to hire or what we don't need to hire. That's what I'm kind of getting at there. But you know, I would like to see the committee put out something at least once a month. You know, facts, things that you have shown, what you've gained upon, you know, what we're pushing toward, give the public a view. You know, and what are these things going to cost? The public deserves that right.
If I remember right, Jonathan, you can correct me, I read the minutes of one of the meetings, and I don't recall what date it was, but the discussion was heavy on the fact that they were going to make things more public. They were going to do some press releases and get some information out. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That'll be good. And that'll be good. That's what we'd like to do.
You're probably looking at something as there are lots of things transpiring, you're probably looking at maybe even bi-weekly updates. There will be parts for the next year and a half plus. There may be some idle moments there to where maybe there's not much to update on every other week.
Because the biggest thing is it's going to be here in the blink of an eye. 2 years is not that far down the road. It's going to be here in the blink of an eye. And you know, we need to move faster and harder and get things going in the right direction. And that's all I have.
May I just add a comment? Our curriculum,
Yolanda.
pardon me?
Melinda.
Yes. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello, Miss Preston.
Hello. I would just like to mention something. I heard Mr. Dressler say that he would like, I couldn't hear everything Jonathan said, but I did hear Mr. Dressler, and he said he asked about an educational committee. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and I just was reading over a letter that Jacob had written in October, and I just want to read this. It says the curriculum subcommittee has met several times during the month to complete a list of all secondary courses offered by both divisions and are going to be working on the list of new offerings that they think would be best for our students. So I just want to report that these things are being done. I know Dr. Furman sits on that committee. I know Kelly Huff sits on that committee. I know that Sherman, what's Sherman's last name?
Callahan.
Callahan. Yes, sits on that committee. Is there anything that Dr. Furman can share with us about the education committee, subcommittee?
Miss Preston, could I go?
Yes, Ms. Preston.
Miss Preston, could I, and Dr. Furman, could I go first? I had started a comment that
Sure.
the curriculum
Okay.
committee did meet last week and 2 weeks ago, and they have decided, and Dr. Furman will discuss that more, about merging the two, both high schools. Now I'm at a loss of word. They're, what's the course of study, and that was to be addressed and discussed this week, how to merge those two documents, and Dr. Furman and Mrs. Huff were both charged with that duty. So Dr. Furman, would you like to go further about that?
Yes, last week at the curriculum committee meeting on Tuesday, we did discuss the program of studies at both Covington High School and Allegheny, and that we would marry the two, if you will, and look at each high school and see what we have that is the same, see what's different, and see how we can kind of blend everything together, what we have in place. And then I even brought up, you know, Mr. Dressler, just not speaking generalities, that we keep hearing that we want certain opportunities for kids and certain outcomes. What are those? So we're going to get both programs of study combined, and then at that point, we will look at what we need to do to further develop that and what offerings could take place. And Mr. Dressler, that's where that piece of the budget and the money would come into play. And by all means, I would certainly anticipate that we would involve department chairs and people from both school divisions.
Right. And being the elementary background that I have, I also think it's important not to forget the elementary grades, because that is where we build our foundation for what gets to the high school. So that will be discussed as well after we do this meeting to merge the two high schools. So it's all being done and meeting weekly now. The curriculum committee is meeting weekly. And I hope that we'll have something done by the end of the month with curriculum merged for secondary at least. So it's been a very creative committee, and lots of good thoughts have happened in the past, and I hope they can continue as the curriculum committee continues to meet on a regular basis. And I agree with Dr. Furman and you, Mr. Dressler, that we do need to involve some staff members who have the experience about what we need to do and how we need to move forward for the betterment of the students in this community.
One last to that point, and to what you were talking about with department heads and things. One of the problems that we wrestled with early on when it came to these subcommittees is, it doesn't matter whether you're talking about curriculum, athletics, even the finance, if you try to get the full measure of all of the expertise that we have in Covington and Allegheny County, you'd end up with a committee of 38 people, in some cases. So, and we all know large committees are no committees at all. So you try to keep the committee size fairly manageable. Usually, folks aim for somewhere between 8 and 12 people on a given committee. And I think the idea has been all along, especially as it relates to those two committees, curriculum and athletics, is that as those committees are working through different issues, when they come upon something and certain department heads are needed, to consult, then they'll be either brought into the meeting in either physical or virtual form, or some consultation, in between.
Yeah, I think it's very important to keep us informed, and what's going on with the whole process, in case we may have questions or we may have ideas to add on with that. So.
In regards to the salary and bonus information, I appreciate you presenting that to us. And just so you know, so everybody knows, we have had some discussions about that in recent past. And we're going to continue that and hopefully take care of that very, very soon.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Debbie Fleshman. I'm a nurse practitioner at Alliance Express Urgent Care in Covington. We are currently available to test anybody with symptoms of fever, fatigue, cough, shortness of breath, sore throat, or any symptoms that are concerning for COVID-19, flu, or strep.